Next, let's talk about rut tracking. So to test for this, you're going to see if the coach follows the grooves worn in the road, often on like a freeway created by 18-wheelers, or where there may be a ridge created where an asphalt surface meets a concrete road surface. So the coach is just going to want to continue in the direction of that ridge or groove, and it can be difficult to correct or change the path of the coach. So one thing to look at is your tire pressure. So running the pressure higher than necessary can sometimes make this issue worse. So we've talked a lot about weighing the coach already. Another good reason for weighing your coach is that it tells you what pressure you actually need to run for the weight you're carrying. Here's an example of a Goodyear tire inflation chart, and you can see that, say for this size tire, get my pointer here, the 255/70R22.5, they state that it can carry 4,190 pounds per tire in a single configuration, in a dual 3,970 pounds. If you are, say, running only 8,200 pounds on your axle, your front axle, for instance, you do not need to be running 100 psi, and that can actually lead to more of a tendency to rut track. So in a case like that, we would say let's drop that pressure down a bit to get it really more where we need. Now, we do always recommend building in a little bit of a buffer. So generally we'll go 5 psi above whatever the minimum recommended pressure is for the weight that you're carrying. But this can be a good way to reduce rut tracking. It can also improve your ride quality, which we'll talk more about later. But the main thing is you just want to make sure you are running enough pressure for the weight that you're carrying to avoid a safety issue. And as with road wander, rut tracking can be worse if you don't have enough weight on your front axle. So again, we want to see a third or more of your total weight on the front axle for a Class A coach. And then also tire selection can have an impact on rut tracking. So a relatively narrow tire with stiff sidewalls, such as the 8R19.5 Bridgestone, can have more of a tendency to rut track. Alignment problems can also increase the tendency of a coach to rut track. So want to check your camber, your caster. Not running enough caster especially can increase your tendency to rut track. Also, if you're towed out, you're going to have just more of a tendency to wander, and coupled with that, more of a tendency to rut track. So alignment can also impact this issue. If you've never had your alignment checked, and especially if you're seeing abnormal tire wear, then getting an alignment can be a good idea. Again, unwanted axle shift can lead to rut tracking. So front radius rods can help in the case of the Ford F53 chassis, and also, if not equipped, a front track bar as well as a rear track bar can cut down on this. Additionally, adding a self-centering steering control, such as a Safety Plus, can reduce the tendency of a coach to rut track as well. So these are all things that can help cut down on rut tracking. It may be difficult to fully eliminate it. A little bit of that is just nature of the beast, just depending on how your track width compares to the width of those ruts in the freeway. But quite a few things that you can do to reduce the effect.